Joe Atkinson, we're delighted to have you here today to chat with us for Future Human.
Delighted to be with you.
I suppose I want to start just with the transformative effect of generative AI in particular and how it's going to impact on business in coming years. I'd love to get your own thoughts on that.
Well, I love predicting these things because they're moving so quickly that there's not a lot of accountability in our predictions because who knows what will happen, but there's no question it will have a transformative effect on business, and it's already happening. We have people using generative AI every day in the way that they work. We're trying to scale that up even further across our network. But the amazing thing is that the ability for people have to adopt these tools so quickly is probably more remarkable than any other technology we've seen in the last, certainly my lifetime. It's easy, it's intuitive, you can apply it. Of course, there's a lot of risks, there's certainly responsibilities there, but it's just amazing to see how quickly it's all moving.
And what are the kind of things you're hearing from your big clients, you know, whether it's their fears, their hopes, you name it?
There's all of those things and everything in between. Clients are so excited about the promise of the technology. There's this, we were just talking actually in our team today, there's this fear of missing out. Everybody's watching what their competitors are doing, worried that they're moving fast enough, are they moving too fast, do they have the right infrastructure in place? But there's also worry. Do we have the right responsibility framework? Do we understand the implications of this technology? Do we understand how the technology interacts with behavior and what we expect of employees in a world where they're using these tools in a much more robust and more common way?
And the whole issue, and I know it's always one of the fears around security, and you know, whether it's, you know, the capabilities of AI to threaten our security, you know, whether it's cybersecurity, but also, I suppose, AI then being used as a defense against
Yes.
cyber attacks.
No question. In fact, when we talked to CEOs and leaders in Ireland, more than half of them thought that cybersecurity events were likely as a result of the advances in generative AI. But I think you hit it, and it is the cyber issues will be managed on both sides by AI. There will always be a place for bad actors to use technologies in bad ways. Unfortunately, we can continue to battle that. But you're going to see the bad actors using generative AI and AI tools to make cybersecurity attacks more robust and unfortunately more impactful. At the same time, organizations are going to have to adopt not only the practices that we've all come to know and love in that space, but more innovation so that they can get ahead as best you possibly can, those bad actors using the tools for bad reasons.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody in one of those organizations that's using AI to defend, and they were saying they can absolutely defend against anything that the bad actors can throw against them. I hope they're right.
I hope they're right too. I hope they're right too. It is always hard to say you can defend against all of it.
Yeah.
But I was spending some time with one of our colleagues from Japan, and one of the things that they shared was that historically in Japan, phishing exercises where somebody crafts an email that you click on and all of a sudden you have malware on your machine. Phishing exercises were very, very difficult to accomplish in Japan because you had the nuances of the language, you had the challenges of communicating in a way that people would actually trust and therefore be duped by the phishing exercise. Unfortunately, generative AI has closed that gap significantly. They're seeing a surge of those in Japan, and territories around the world are seeing the same because of these advances in not just the language and the capability, but the ability to create visuals, create communications, create text. It's very convincing, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hope my cybersecurity friend is correct about the defense.
Stay vigilant, I think, is the order of the day.
So, you know, when you look at all the research, we're talking about, you know, businesses spending millions on AI. What about the return on investment? Are we seeing return on investment already, and are we expecting to see return on investment, or will that be slow?
I think it will be slow. I think businesses always expect to see return on investment. Rational businesses should expect a return on their investments. I think what is getting people's attention right now is the scale of investments that people are making. So we're not just spending a little bit of money on AI, we're spending a lot of money on AI. And we're doing that at a pace that feels like it's frenetic. And at the same time, of course, the expectations of boards, investors, regulators is where's the return? Are we providing that return? But it is such early days. Most organizations are still in pilot, they're still building infrastructure, some are starting to scale, some have provided it in technology that supports care, for example, customer care, et cetera. But the reality is that the real returns, I believe, will come as these models become more and more integrated in the way that we do business every day.
And can I come back to PwC? And we were talking before, and you mentioned your own role wouldn't have existed several years ago because this has happened so quickly. Tell me a little bit about PwC and their investment in AI, and it's a considerable one.
It is a considerable one, and it's funny. So I'll take officially the Global Chief AI Officer role for the network of firms effective July 1. I'll be the first global chief AI officer we've ever had. I hope I'm a really good one. But it is reflective of the investment that we're making and again the speed that this is all moving. So about a year ago we announced in our cooperative partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI, we announced a $1 billion investment to bring AI to our people and to help prepare the infrastructure necessary to serve our clients. And so we're now about a year and a few months into that. I expect, frankly, that investment will grow beyond the $1 billion. In fact, our projections are we'll continue to invest even heavier in the coming years. But from a professional services perspective, we're in kind of the target zone of where these capabilities will really change the way we work. And I always say you have a couple of choices there. You can cross your fingers and duck. It's not a great strategy. Or you can engage and learn and deploy and do that in a responsible and thoughtful way. And we're certainly looking to do the second thing, not the first.
And tell me a little more about that that agreement with OpenAI. Very interested to hear a bit more about that.
We're very excited about it. And of course, we serve our clients with all kinds of technology, and ultimately what the client need governs what we do. But OpenAI was very interested in working with us, particularly with their GPT Enterprise tool. And that enterprise capability is really what our clients are looking for. They want secure environments. They want well-managed environments. They want to know that they can put guardrails around the way people operate in that technology. And there's also the issues with data. Where does the data go? What model gets informed by it? Can I keep my IP? The enterprise capability is really designed to address those enterprise needs. And so that was a very natural opportunity for us to build on the relationship we had with OpenAI.
Yeah, and you're going to be maybe the largest, am I right?
We will likely be their largest customer. That's their stat, not mine. So they would know for sure, but we're also their first reseller. So where clients have that need, we can bring that solution where that need is the right, or where that solution is the right to fit that need.
Fascinating to see where that goes, I have to say.
It's been exciting.
And tell me, I suppose, and we chatted a little bit about this before, but tell me about what excites you about the potential of AI, the possibilities of AI, how it's going to, make societal change, generational change,
Yes.
if you like, and transformation.
I am an unapologetic optimist with respect to AI. I recognize, and I think lots of people like to have the conversations about the risks and issues, and there's plenty that we can talk about. But the opportunity to advance human potential, the opportunity to create capability for people that would not be reachable otherwise, the ability to take really talented, smart people and give them a lift in terms of what they can produce, whether it's creative, whether it is intellectual content, whether it's research. I think that idea of the human plus augmented technology, this AI as an augmentation to human potential, is really, really remarkable. And the opportunities, in my view, are really endless. We've talked about healthcare when we were chatting a few minutes ago. I think drug discovery and research, ways to treat all kinds of conditions that have persisted in humankind for a long time. The ability to think differently about what treatment applies in what circumstances. And we're seeing some data already, for example, in radiology, where the AI is coming up with better responses and better judgments than the people. Now, you can't get to that without the people. You need both. So to suggest it's the technology by itself, you need to train it in the great work that people have done. But I think that's a great example of where people's capability will climb as a result of a great technology partnering with them.
I love a bit of optimism. I love the human plus idea. It's something that I believe quite strongly myself as well. I mean, I think sometimes there's a misconception that, that AI is going to replace us all or whatever, that silly kind of, but you still hear it in the general media sometimes. Can you develop that a little bit more for me, that idea of the human connection being so crucial?
Yeah, I think your point on this discussion about AI is going to replace us all, I think it's good. It sometimes makes for good material that people get attention to. But to be fair, there's no question there are certain tasks and roles and jobs that will be impacted in the near term by AI. And by the way, go back over every innovation in the last 100 years, you'll find the same thing happening. But I think the opportunity here far outweighs that construct change in the way people work. And again, to be fair, if you're the individual whose job is impacted, you feel very differently about what I'm saying. But this is one of the reasons that from a PwC perspective, we've been so focused on training and upskilling people to use the technology. We see an AI-driven future, and in an AI-driven future, you need people who can use and apply the technology in a thoughtful and responsible way. And I say often, I think as an organization, not only do we have a business need to do that, I think we have an obligation to our people to help them navigate through this time so that they are the individuals with the skills to apply the tech. Ultimately, one of the things I say to our teams all the time is if you produce something yesterday, you were responsible for it. Tomorrow you're going to produce something, it may have some AI in it, you're still responsible for it. And I think that connectivity of the human in the loop, some people say human in the loop, or the human judgment applied to the AI is just incredibly, incredibly important.
And coming back then to business, and again, you talk about being an optimist. What are the real opportunities for business, I suppose, with AI?
Well, one of them, I always come back to friction. I think any of us that have spent more than a few minutes in business, we could have a long list of where friction exists in organizations. And it's typically, the starting point is in places where most of us would rather not spend time. We had our annual CEO survey, and when we asked our CEOs, about 4,000 CEOs around the world, they said that roughly 40% of their administrative time is wasted, they believe. Now, that's a judgment that they make, and it's a guess. It's not a precise question or not a precise answer. But it's probably in the zone. And I think most of us, if we looked at the way that we spend our time, would say, you know, that wasn't the most efficient 20 minutes I spent. So the opportunity to advance things that most of us don't love to do, and do those in a more constructive, higher quality way, and then free up people to do the thinking, the higher judgments, the higher order things that most of us do enjoy doing, I think that's a really, really important opportunity for all of us.
And are you excited about the role that officially starts in July?
I am very excited about the role that officially starts in July. It is an interesting weight on shoulders, and we were just talking about that with our full leadership team. You know, the firm's brand, and I've been at the firm 31 years, so I always say I've lost all objectivity about PwC. But the place has been a reinvention place for 170 years. And this is just, in our minds, in my mind, the next reinvention of how you serve clients, serve the public interest, make sure we're doing the right things in the markets that we operate in.
Joe Atkinson, thank you so much.
My pleasure,
That
Ann.
was wonderful.
Thank you so much.